Hello everyone, and welcome to ONTV's series on Spotlight on Biz Today. And we're in a transition period, of course, as everybody knows. And we have someone, a special guest with us today that has transitioned from corporate America to a small business. A very unusual one to me, but a very meaningful one. We have a special guest, two guests actually, and I'd like to introduce right now Canine Masseuse, Sue Lovelace. Sue, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad I could be here.
And I know you told me a little bit about how you transitioned. You were in corporate America, and you found your way to what turns out to be the love of your life. Could you tell us a little bit about how you transitioned from corporate America to what you're doing now?
Yes, I was in, as you said, I was in corporate America for 26 years, transitioned out of corporate America, and I went down to Integrated Touch Therapy in Circleville, Ohio to get the training for canine massage. And I did that primarily to help my dog. At the time, Titan, he was getting older, which is similar to here. Pistol right here is a Belgian Malinois, and Titan was a Belgian Tervuren. So he was like Pistol, but long hair. And he lived to be about 15 years old. And as he got older in his age, I noticed, as typical with large dogs, that they'll get a little bit of weakening in the hips or the back area. And so I had gone down to find some alternatives, which would have been massage, to help him out. We went down and got trained, came back, and probably about 6 months after that, I had somebody come up to me, and he'd asked me a couple of times how my business was doing, and I wasn't sure what business he was referring to. And so I finally asked him, what business do you think I'm in? And he said, well, canine massage. You went down and you were certified. So I thought, well, okay, I'm in canine massage. He was absolutely right. I did go for the training. I did get certified. And so I wound up opening up a canine massage business. And in doing that, my business, as typical can happen with a startup, my business got out in front of my total business planning process. And so I wound up a couple months after that actually going to a fast track class in Lansing, Michigan on how to really set up your business and put it right down on paper. So that means that you are figuring out where your target market is, where you think things are going.
Well, I'm glad you're not doing horse massage. I mean,
exactly. Pistol, come here. There you go. Lay down, babe. Good girl. So after doing that, then my marketing strategy was actually to target one vet per community. And that way, a vet would have another service to offer within their business. And I do have one vet currently in the Fenton area that does allow me to work out of her office, and that has been a successful partnership. And so I'm always open to other vets in the area. I do have brochures in specific vet offices that I'm willing to work with their clients. So it's, again, a special service that can be offered to different clients. And we know how beneficial massage can be for people. And my first kind of approach to it was it can also be beneficial for animals. We know it's very popular in racehorses. It's been used there for years. It actually is popular in the agility realm of dogs. And now I would like to take it to not just the performing dogs, but also the geriatric dogs, and even dogs that may have had amputations, where we know in people they can get phantom pain. Dogs will do the same thing. Plus they will be compromising or compensating, I should say. So if they're no longer having two back legs, they compensate with one, which means there's a shift in the muscles. And so to help that along, massage really does help, not only with the phantom pain, but also helping make sure those extra worked muscles are taken care of and nourished with the extra blood flow of the massage.
Well, let me ask you a question. We know that dogs are man and women's best friend. In business, How about a business plan? Is a business plan a business person's best friend, and how did you develop your business plan?
I did. It is very critical to develop a business plan. Make sure you know your target market that you're going into. It's good when you're starting up to figure out what your startup costs are, any of your marketing, how you're going to market, branding yourself. Branding is so critical. That way people get to know you for your name, your logo. They can just see the logo and they know who it's tied to. So branding is very important. And going out to classes actually did help me, give me the time to sit back and think and brainstorm with other people that were starting businesses to really make that happen.
And I know that you mentioned to me off camera, we were talking about the Kauffman Center, was it? How important were they to you, and what do they do?
It was a Kauffman Foundation, and the class was offered through the Small Business Association in Lansing. So they had paid for part of the class, and then I had to pay for part of it as well. And there are different classes being held in the incubators throughout Michigan. So whether it's TechWorks at Kettering and Flint, or TechWorks at or TechTown, I'm sorry, in Detroit, and then there's also some in Midland, Kalamazoo, Grand Rapids. They often will offer these classes to help startup businesses, and it does give you an opportunity to brainstorm with other people, bounce ideas off, and also with some seasoned professionals that are basically consultants helping you get your business started to make sure as a small business you're successful, but also and on a grassroots level helping to turn the economy around within Michigan by us starting our own businesses and moving forward.
It sounds like it had a major influence on you. Now, coming out of corporate America, how difficult was it to transition to owning your own business?
It was relatively easy, but part of that was because I had done business planning in a corporate environment. I was very familiar with both the long-term and short-term planning process. So I took some of those skill sets that I already had and did transition it. It is nice not having to decide to go to work during a snowstorm, and in really setting your own schedule so you're not punching a clock. So it was a nice transition, and I would call it more of a pre-retirement position versus a retirement with a part-time job or startup business. It's a nice way to transition.
Well, I know we've talked about, or you hear all the time, make your avocation your vocation, and you'll never live or work another day of your life. And I guess if you were worried about snowstorms now, you'd just start raising Malamutes and animals like that. If you had advice to give somebody that's coming out of corporate into the small business, wanting to open up their own business, what advice would that be?
I would say make sure you do your market research. Again, going through a program, one of the programs that Small Business Association offers, like the Kauffman Foundation, research, figure out who your customer is, and if it's going to be a larger endeavor, make sure you get some of your investors on board, which means you are going to have a very good plan put together on paper to deliver, and then go forward.
Well, it sounds like very sound advice, and in wrapping up, I appreciate your advice to people coming out of corporate. We want to thank you very much for bringing Pistol out to still the show, and appreciate your background, and congratulations on starting your own small business, and it looks like you're really, really enjoying yourself. And what I'd like to do is just invite everybody to stay tuned, don't go away. We're going to have, when we return, we're going to have Alaina Campbell, the Executive Director of the Orion Area Chamber of Commerce, with us to talk about how the Chamber plays a role in small business. And Sue, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Orion Township presents Barn Days on Saturday, September 8th from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Gather up the family and bring them down to Friendship Park to enjoy games, a petting farm, pony rides, food, and fun. Pick up some farm fresh produce at the farmers market or take part in the Chamber Chili Challenge. Hop on board a hayride, but be sure to keep your head low because you just might encounter some Yankees and rebels who don't realize the Civil War is over. Mark it down on your calendar. Barn Days, Saturday, September 8th from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. at Friendship Park. Cost is only $5 per car. For more information, contact Orion Township Community Programs by calling 248-391-0304 extension 305 or visit www.oriontownship.org.
And welcome back to Spotlight on Today's Biz. It's on TV series on small business in today's world. And today we have with us a very special guest. She's Executive Director Alaina Campbell of Orion Area Chamber of Commerce. And Alaina, thank you so much for joining us and clearing your busy schedule to be with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's our pleasure, I'm sure. Here's what I know the audience is probably thinking. They're probably thinking, what is a chamber's function in today's community?
That's a really good question, Ray, because a lot of people do not understand what a chamber does. Some folks think that it's part of the local government, but we are actually a private nonprofit organization that's membership driven. Businesses here in the community and in the surrounding communities join the chamber to expose themselves to the community members and connect themselves more with the community, and also to connect with other businesses. So it benefits them in that it helps them connect with the community and the business community here in Orion.
As Executive Director, what is your role at the Chamber?
Well, my role kind of encompasses everything that the Chamber does. My role is to help lead the Chamber, develop a vision for the future of the Chamber, and working alongside of our Board of Directors. We have a 15-member Board of Directors. They're all volunteers, and they all are from different businesses within our community. And so I follow their direction in implementing what they develop as the vision for the organization, and then also assist them in developing that vision. So day to day I run the operations of the Chamber, make sure that our members are benefiting from their membership, and also try and increase our membership.
And I know that there's been a great increase. You've been on board for how many years now?
It was 2 years in April.
Okay, and you're doing a great job, by the way. And you've increased the membership from approximately, what was it? What did you start
It was
at?
187 members when I first started, and now we're up to 273. So we are very proud of that growth in our chamber. And I think a big part of it isn't just me. We have a big team. We have a wonderful Board of Directors, as I mentioned before, who's also working very hard to increase the membership. And I think the more active that we get in the community, and the more that the community sees us, the better our reputation is, and then that brings along with us an increased membership.
What are some of your favorite activities that the Chamber is involved in? Because it seems to be constantly expanding. It seems like the Chamber has visibility or a part in a lot of the goings on, especially during the holidays now.
Mm-hmm. One of my favorite events that the Chamber does is our annual Community Business Expo. We hold that every May at Lake Orion High School during parent-teacher conferences. And this is a win-win situation not only for the school district but also for the Chamber, in that we've got a captive audience in the parents coming in to meet with the teachers during parent-teacher conferences. The school district loves it because we're there with over 100 vendors in the gymnasium, and that brings parents in to parent-teacher conferences because they know that the expo is going on. So that's one of my favorite events that we hold. Something very fun that we've added in the last 2 years is our pizza war. We really wanted to incorporate something for the students to do. As you know, the high school is, at all hours of the day teeming with students, even after hours. And we wanted something specifically geared towards the students that would be fun and beneficial for them. So we've started inviting our local pizzerias to come in and compete in the pizza war. And of course the kids love it, the parents love it, we also have other restaurants there serving free food. So everybody gets fed, and they're happy and learning about our businesses here in the community.
And congratulations on this last one. I was part of that as an exhibitor. And the food fight was kind of messy. That pizza war got a little bit messy, but I don't know who cleaned that up. But you had a lot of participation. And I think that was that a record attendance that you had?
It was, yes. It was a record attendance both in the people that came through the expo and the number of vendors that we had. We had 100 vendors. So that was the largest number that we've ever packed into that.
So are we going for a larger venue next time, or?
Well, I don't think there is a larger venue in Lake Orion, unfortunately.
That would be it.
Yeah,
indoors.
the field house at the high school is about the largest space that we have available. So maybe we'll have to fill the upper tier, the track, next year.
Yeah, and all probably could have done it this year. And I know you're getting a lot of participation. I'd like to talk about the businesses, and then I'd like to talk about the students as well, business owners in training. But the businesses, so to get that kind of record turnout, I know you have a team, and it does take a team, of course. But what would you say was the reason for this record attendance?
I think that businesses understand more today than ever the importance of personally connecting with the community. And that's one of the things that the expo provides. You have a table there at the expo, and you're standing at your table as a business owner, and you're meeting and greeting community members. Statistics show that community members trust a business that's part of a chamber more than they trust a business that's not. It builds confidence in them when they see a business that belongs to the chamber. They know that they care about the community, they're involved in the community, and that just helps everyone. So I think that personal exposure that a business owner gets to actually pressing the palm, meeting and greeting people who are out there really helps them increase their business. And we all know that we trust people more that we know personally and have met personally. So I think that's one of the big reasons why. And
we'll be wrapping up here in just about 2 minutes or so. You did an article on keeping the community, the dollars in the community.
Shopping
in other words,
locally.
Shopping locally.
Yes.
Would you expand on that?
Yes, that is something that's very important to the chamber. I don't think a lot of people understand. For every $100 that is spent here at a local business, $68 stays in the community. Now, you get more bang for your buck. When a dollar goes around and around inside your community, it is benefiting your local economy more and more and more. So that's something that's very important. When you buy something online, that dollar goes outside of the community, never to get back again. So the chamber is very passionate about educating people about why it's important to shop locally and keep those dollars here in our community. That dollar, goes down the street and pays for lunch at a local restaurant. It goes to pay an employee who then goes out and buys lunch at a local restaurant. It goes to pay some taxes to our local, Orion Township or the village of Lake Orion, which of course supports all of our beautiful parks and recreation facilities that we have here. It benefits our school district. So it's very important for a community to try and keep their dollars circulating within the community.
And you've done a great job of making people aware of that. I know you've got on-site, you have a new website that's gone, and a lot of that has been contributed as well, hasn't it?
Yes, yes. We've worked very hard over the last couple of years to put together a brand new website for the chamber that we're trying to make a resource not only for the chamber but for the community. Many community members will go to a chamber website for information on local events, on local businesses that are members of the chamber. We get lots of calls from community members asking us for referrals you know, I need somebody to cut my grass, and they'll call us for a referral.
And you guys do a great job, but in wrapping up, I just want to thank you so much
Thanks,
for
Ray.
joining us. You do a great job, and we're just lucky to have you here in the Orion Area Chamber of Commerce. And please stay tuned for Spotlight on Biz for our next segment. Don't go away.
Prescription drug abuse is a national epidemic. The new in way to obtain drugs is through parents' or grandparents' medicine chests. Removing prescriptions from your cabinet is the best way to keep drugs out of the hands of our young people. We've got to work together to protect our teens, our seniors, and our environment. Clean out your medicine cabinet today. Please participate in Operation Medicine Cabinet and drop off your unwanted or expired prescriptions at one of our law enforcement drop-off sites in Oakland County. We can't ignore this situation anymore.
And welcome back to Spotlight on Today's Biz. I'm Ray Fritz, your host, and today we have a special guest, former business broker, business owner, Miss Debbie George. And Debbie, I want to thank you so much for joining us and taking time out of your busy schedule. And I've got one of the questions that comes to mind, knowing you personally. What got you interested in business and small business in particular?
Oh, Ray, well, thank you, and thank you for having me today. I really appreciate it. I actually grew up a weird kid. We would go for rides as a family, and, you know, everybody was busy sightseeing, and I was always looking at the businesses. And I would look at businesses, and I'd see some businesses on one side of the street that were flourishing. You know, the parking lot full, they're lined up, and other businesses right across the street, same type of business with a going out of business sign in the window. And I always wanted to know, you know, why were some businesses successful and some businesses not? And I was very fortunate because my dad's a psychologist and he did a lot of consulting with companies. And when I was young, he used to take me with him. And so I just always had this idea that I was fascinated by businesses. As a matter of fact, one time I was working out with the head coach for the University of Michigan women's track team, and he was saying to me, he said, "Debbie, it's dangerous to tell a joke around you because you try to turn it into a business."
I'll try to watch what I say. I'm pretty busy as it is, but I'll tell you, things are changing. The world's in transition, especially the business world. And could you give us a little insight in what's popular out there today?
Oh, you know, and it's funny you say that because I'm always kind of watching where business is going. And I kind of think back to the days when Ray Kroc bought the franchise rights from the McDonald's brothers. And, you know, that was back like in the 50s. And as a matter of fact, a true story, my grandfather and my uncle had a chance to buy the first McDonald's franchise in Miami, Florida. Now, when they went to check it out, they said, "Oh, hamburgers didn't taste so good. Who would eat this way anyway?" And they took a pass on it. Now, they had a chance to buy it for about, rumor has it, for about $30,000. Now, I always said if they had been visionary, could see what was going to be happening, you know, I'd be a McDonald's heiress today. But, you know, and I looked at that, and, you know, that was the franchise industry, and the way we ate out, you know, changed, and restaurants changed. And then, you know, we went into a lot of different types of businesses. We think about people like Bill Gates, and we think about people like Steve Jobs, and what happened. I always tease about, boy, I would have liked to have been there with Bill Gates and the Motley Crue when he first got started. And, you know, he was trying to get investors at $10,000, and people wouldn't invest in his company. So you always have to be kind of looking at, you know, what's happening. And my grandmother, she was just kind of a maven in the stock market, and she said she would just watch the trends. She would see where people were going, what people were doing, and that would lead her to knowing what stock to buy. So in businesses today, you've really got to kind of pay attention to what's going on. Now, it was always amazing to me back in the .com era when Amazon.com and a lot of these other companies came about, and I just went, oh my gosh, I mean, like, there really wasn't anything to the business. And now Amazon.com is kind of, you know, kind of not only stuck around, but they've grown and evolved. But now, you know, and movies come out about, you know, certain entrepreneurs and certain businesses. And the movie with Mark Zuckerberg, you know, really has changed the way people are thinking about getting businesses started. So today, you know, all different types of businesses. It really, and I know earlier on, and I was just fascinated by, and I always want to know, like, why did somebody get a business started? But, you know, hearing about the canine massage. So wherever there's a need, if you can just kind of look at, you know, who are the people, where are the needs, and today, and not to get political, but I think that, you know, some of the businesses of the future are going to be in alternative health care, because as the cost of health care gets more and as the baby boomers are getting older, we're going to want to be finding services that are going to help them, and I think there's more of an awareness about health and wellness. But, you know, again, people come up with ideas for businesses all the time, and some of them make it and some of them don't.
Well, I see you brought quite a few books with you. What would you like to tell us about these books? Are these for people that are looking at businesses, thinking about businesses, or currently own a business?
Well, I always say that it's about your mindset. It's about, you know, the information and your awareness. So it's always good to be reading and getting new information. I know nowadays not everybody reads books anymore with Kindle and, you know, and Amazon and everything. Everybody is kind of doing things a little bit differently and getting their information. But it starts with having an entrepreneur's mindset. And, you know, one of the books that, you know, I really consider kind of a textbook for all entrepreneurs. In this book, it was written by Napoleon Hill. And I hate to tell you how long ago, but it was back in the 1920s or 1930s, and it's called Think and Grow Rich. And he actually was given an assignment by Andrew Carnegie, to interview all of the successful people in the world, like Thomas Edison and Henry Ford, so that he could find out what went into how they thought and how it was different, why they had become so successful. So this is really such a great starting book. And then there's another book, and you know, we're always reading books. As a matter of fact, if you came at home, I couldn't even decide which books to be bringing because we'd like to read the books. There's a book called Grinding It Out, which was a story of Ray Kroc. So you could see how he thought, what went into his putting McDonald's together. But this book by Robert Kiyosaki has been a very, very well-known book, and he actually has a series, and it's called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And again, it's about mindset. It's about an awareness of being, you know, a business owner rather than an employee. So these were, you know, a couple of the books that really play a huge role in shifting people's awareness about, you know, thinking like a business owner.
And I've read Think and Grow Rich a couple times. I like to, I'm going to rename that book. It's Think, Act, and Grow Rich. In the last minute and a half, would you talk about the actions that people, if they're thinking about starting a business, what action you would recommend for them?
Sure, and you know, it's so funny because there's a lot of different thought processes that go into place, but it really starts with your dream. It starts with a vision. Kind of just have that vision of what it is that you want, and then, you know, put together a game plan. Sometimes you do a little bit of research, sometimes you do a lot of research, sometimes you don't do any research, but you know, sometimes it's, you know, start doing a little bit of your own market research. See if there's really a need out there in the marketplace for what you are thinking about. See what else is currently being done. Maybe get some experience. My sister-in-law had bought a Hallmark franchise, and the reason she did is she had a job working for one of the card companies selling the cards to the different stores, and she found that she really liked being in that business. So it really is important to do that. The second thing is make sure you surround yourself with successful people. Surround yourself with a mastermind group. Get the advice of people who may have been in business before, maybe attend some of the classes, you know, take a look at what has been done so you learn from it. You're going to make your own mistakes along the way, but it's always going to be good to just move forward and be able to grow and just kind of become organic in the process.
Well, thank you so much. I feel like I'm very successful. Thank you, Ms. Debbie George, for joining us. Thank you for ONTV for joining us on this series on Spotlight on Today's Biz. I'm Ray Fritz. We'll see you out there in the business world.